Hey, good morning. Happy Friday, Facebook family. We're back with another Facebook Live, and today my guest is Jim Matson from Pillar to Post Inspections, who's going to give us some insight on the inspection process. So, hi.
Hey,
So,
how are you this morning?
I'm awesome. How are you?
Great.
So, if you would, go ahead and tell our audience, how did you get started? What was your background prior to inspections, and how long you've been in the field?
My background is construction prior to owning this business. I've been everything from light residential up to heavy military construction. What got me into home inspection was I moved to Charlotte, and at the time I was traveling doing military construction, QC inspections, and the travel schedule was so grueling that I decided not to renew a contract on that, look for what I wanted to do that was in the similar field without starting another company down here. And decided to buy a home inspection company 7.5 years ago, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and you've done a bunch of inspections for us.
Yeah.
You've been mainly my go-to guy.
Yeah.
And what I like about you is when you do the inspections, you will print them out right there on site.
Exactly.
And you're great about talking with my clients about what needs to be done and what maybe should be done and what's a big ticket item and what might not be so detrimental to the sale and moving forward.
Yeah, I'm a real firm believer in letting them know what's going on with the house they're purchasing. It's a big investment, whether it's a $150,000 house or $1.5 million house.
Right.
Who's ever buying that's a big investment, and most people come into it worried that I'm going to blow it for them. So I want them to know what's going on in their house, but I'm not a panic-inducing guy. I firmly believe anything can be fixed. Sometimes I tell people anything can be fixed. It's just going to matter where the dollars come from. So no matter how serious a crawl space, for instance, in here in North Carolina, you know as well as I do, crawl spaces can be a big issue here with moisture, fungal growth, termites, things like that. So that's a scary thing. But I want to let people know how serious it is down there, but it is fixable.
Right. And this is a family business for you now.
Yeah. My son has been a licensed inspector for soon to be 2 years. Doing a great job out there. He's every bit maybe busier than I am. He likes to brag the weeks he does more than me, but I tell him, hey, that's how it's supposed to work.
Good. Pay for your retirement.
I know. I'm on my way out. You're on your way up.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Alan. Hi, Ray. I think I got everyone. Hi, Wendy. Thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget, if you have your questions, and you can ask them now, or you can ask them after the broadcast with #replay to get them answered.
Very cool. So now you guys are busy, and I know you've won awards.
Yeah.
What's the most inspections you've done in a year so far?
Most inspections in a year was 850.
Can you imagine?
Wow.
Yeah.
So take us through a typical day for you. How many inspections? How does that work? What's the timing look like?
A typical day is 2 inspections, but with the crazy market we're experiencing here in Charlotte, often that turns into 3.
Wow.
And then 1 on Saturday, and occasionally 1 on Sunday. For instance, I've got
we can get him on the weekends.
We can get them on the weekends.
I've got an 8,100 footer I'm doing tomorrow because that's the way that takes a full day.
Well, that'll take you all day. Yeah.
So it's hard to squeeze it in during the week because people are already scheduled. So a typical day is 2, like I said, 3 in this market often. Usually an inspection is right around an hour or so for every 1,000 square feet in a house.
That's a good rule of thumb.
It's a good market there, good benchmark to know that that's about what it's going to be. So 3,000 square foot house. And that can change. You can do a 1940 house that's 1,000 feet that takes 4 hours because there's so much going on. Crawl spaces are small.
Right.
2 in a day. Typically, my first one starts at 9. My second one at 1:30.
Okay. What do you find is the most common repair that comes up on your inspections?
Again, here, crawl space and heating and cooling equipment are the 2 biggest things.
Is it more, does it depend on the age of the home? Do you find that the older the home, the more you're going to have crawl space issues?
Yeah. 10 years and back is when you'll start doing it. A crawl space kind of becomes, if you don't see it, you don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Some of them haven't been into for years till I crawl in or
Right.
Andrew crawls in.
Well, and I think we had just had that conversation not that long ago. Folks that have been in their homes a good 20, 25 years, and this was actually, I just had been interviewed for the Charlotte Observer,
Oh, okay.
and they asked about the non-sexy things that people should be watching out for and what they can do to improve their homes. And we were talking about how everybody, it's what you see, right? So you go ahead and you improve your kitchen and you improve your bath, but if you've been living in your home for 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, probably even as little as, 5 to 7.
Yeah.
It's probably not a bad idea to have an inspector come in and just give your house a checkup, right? Because we get our we get our cars inspected every year because we have to. Mm-hmm. But our homes, we almost put them on autopilot. Until
Exactly.
we see that something's gone wrong, and then we address the problem that we find, whether it's all of a sudden you're seeing a stain because now you know there's a roof leak.
Yep.
Realistically, how often do you think a homeowner should get their home, an inspection? Does it make sense? I mean, I guess it does,
It
right?
does.
Logically, it seems like
And
it
I'm
would.
starting to do more of those. I'm doing 1 to 2 a month now. I just did one 2 Saturdays ago for a gentleman. I do a lot of inspections for properties he's buying. Finally, he's like, why am I doing this for my investments? I need to worry about my own home.
Interesting.
And oddly enough, beautiful home, but there were some issues that he needed to take care of. Mm-hmm. I would think probably maybe every 5 years or so. That's kind of the time where if you get everything repaired and back up to par, then in about 5 years, if you're starting to forget to maintain a part of it, that's when it'll start showing up. Paints, caulking, crawl space issues if you haven't paid attention to it, things like that.
Exactly. Hope you guys are taking notes. Thanks for watching. Allison, Jason, Peter, Harry, and Shane. Wow, you guys just all tuned in at the same time.
Awesome.
We're so happy to have you.
Cool. So when you think about doing inspections, where so you're saying the most problems you find tend to be in the crawl spaces.
Yeah, that's the big issue.
What are you finding in the crawl spaces?
Termites, of course, North Carolina, they say it's not when, but but when you'll have them. High moisture levels are very common here. We've got humidity. Mid-July to mid-August is the worst period of time.
Oh, gosh.
And so it goes into there. So if your crawl space isn't ventilating property, that gets into the wood. 20% is the benchmark. We want to see it under that because above that, fungal growth can begin.
Okay.
Fungal growth, when it hits 28%, can turn into wood-destroying fungi. I go in some homes where literally I can squeeze the floor joists.
Wow.
I've been on inspections with you where you've taken out a screwdriver and you say, look at this wood, and you'll just, and if the wood is good, it's not going anywhere.
Right, exactly.
But if that wood is soft and damaged, that screwdriver's going right in.
It is.
And I always thought that was a great demonstration.
Yeah.
It just totally shows you what you may not be seeing so much on the surface if you don't have a trained eye.
Right.
So.
Right.
Does anybody have any questions for us?
What's the craziest thing that you've seen or come across during your inspections?
A guy sleeping in a crawl space.
Whoa!
Yeah. He wasn't a resident there, and the person living there had no clue. But I think after that, he started locking his crawl space.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you get a lot of snakes?
Yeah. A lot of snakes, tons of snake skins. I've been in some that I describe it as when I open that door, it looks like a tobacco barn. There's so many snake skins.
Wow.
And then every time something touches your leg in there, you're pretty sure you're under attack. So.
Hey, Joe, thanks for watching.
No.
Betting you don't get that up in New York, huh?
No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do your job. Could not.
There's days I don't know if I can do it.
So where should we go from here?
What are tips or tricks that people can use? What would help them with a home inspection?
In preparation for home inspection, making sure everything's unlocked, making sure, I go out there and the crawl space is locked, and so I can't get access to either to look at the crawl, which again, we've mentioned a couple times is a very crucial part of the inspection, to the point where I need to go back and re-inspect if I can't get in. A lot of times people lock their electric boxes if they're outside, so getting ready for us to come so we get full access to everything. If you're attic access is in your closet, clean it out so we can get up in that hatch. Anything that we can inspect that's deemed a potential issue, they're going to want us to come back and look at it. So
Right.
sometimes there's additional cost involved. Sometimes there's a frustration of trying to reschedule with everybody, the buyers, the realtors, myself, the owners. So making things ready for an inspection is really crucial.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the bumps. Why didn't the inspector find that?
Yeah.
I know you hear that.
Oh, yeah. It's, to be quite frank and honest, as perfect as we want to be, we're not infallible.
And what are you supposed to be able, what's reasonable that you should be able to see versus, things that I think people might expect you to find, but is beyond the scope of your inspection?
Right. One big thing is cosmetic issues, a ding in the wall, a cracked joint in trim where the caulking is cracked. People expect that to be part of the home inspection, but we're actually looking at the functionability of the house.
Okay.
Is the heating and cooling working, things like that. To come back around, we mentioned earlier crawl space and heating and cooling. Heating and cooling is one of the big things because it can be a potentially expensive fix down the road. And unfortunately, it can literally be working one day, and the same way as if you're living in the home, it's cooling one day and the next day you have to call the guy.
Right.
Well, if that happens on the day I'm there, then the last guy to touch it's, the one that gets the blame.
Right.
What is your liability for when you're doing home inspections in off periods? Like, let's say you're doing a home inspection in December.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're not turning the AC unit on. So what steps do you take to test heating in the summer, cooling in the winter?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. We're not required to operate air conditioning if it's below 65 degrees outside.
Okay.
Simply because below that level, the oils inside the compressor can be cool enough that you can actually damage it.
Right, that makes sense.
In that case, we put a note in there that it needs to be checked out by a licensed HVAC guy. They can do some things when it's cold. They still really shouldn't operate it. Sometimes they'll run the furnace full bore and heat the outside to get that warm enough to test. But it's tough to do in that time of year. Mm-hmm. The unfortunate thing there is usually by the time people can test it, they may already own the home. Mm-hmm. That's one reason why a home warranty can be a good idea.
Okay.
That's great. Hey, Phil. Hey, Carmen. David, nice to see you. You guys have a chance to ask your questions of Jim Matson from Pillar to Post. Or if you're watching this, don't forget to add hashtag replay so that they can tune in and get your questions answered.
Cool. How often are you doing post inspections or re-inspection, I guess I should say?
That's becoming a bigger and bigger thing. We probably do re-inspections on 30 to 35% of our inspections.
Wow.
Especially as people get concerned and especially as realtors find that the work they thought was done correctly was not. Mm-hmm. So they get a little leery on the follow-up inspections down the road, and they want to make sure that what they're presenting to their client is repaired is properly repaired.
Right. And we've actually have run into that where we've had homeowners say, oh, I had this done recently last year, blah, 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 blah. And then next thing you know, we've got it on the market, we get an inspection done, and they'll say, I don't understand why that came up on the inspection report.
Right.
I just had that done. Well, apparently the work was either not done to code or not done correctly, or, because not everybody is, honest and doing the right thing and ethical.
Hi, Kenneth. And he says, hi. Ooh, wow. Okay. Mercury's in retrograde. Kenneth says hi, and Danny, thanks for watching. So one question I have is, after the inspection process is done, what do you provide to either the homeowners or a realtor that assists them in the process of getting repairs done?
Well, the one thing is when we print the report, there's a complete list of the issues that need to be taken care of. A lot of realtors have an excellent list of repair contractors. We do have a few people we can recommend along the way if needed. The other thing we do, which I think is real important, is I will answer any question along the way. If they have a question, if they can call me anytime, and I give that follow-up. I'm not done when I print the report, go over it, and walk out the door. I'm available all the time for follow-up, which gives people wonderful peace of mind.
I know we've definitely called you after the fact to say, hey, how do we address this and that sort of thing. So.
Yeah. Or even the thing with, you ask the seller to take care of an issue and they don't want to, a lot of people will call or email me and say, do you have an idea what this is going to run, so they know going forward, if it's $1,000 and it doesn't need to really be done for 6 months to a year, it's not crucial for right immediately. They know they can save a few dollars. So it can help some people decide how to pursue that if they've been told, no, we don't want to fix that for you.
Right. And I know when we've gone over home inspections with buyers of mine, you'll say, well, if the plumber has to come out to do X, Y, and Z, you might as well put this on the report and have them fix this as well, because they're going to be there. It's going to be probably an hourly charge, and you may as well go ahead and get all those things done at the same time. Right. I think a lot of realtors on the other side of the table don't necessarily understand that thought process behind it. It's like, well, why are they asking for, the faucet to be caulked? Like, that's a little thing.
Yeah.
But I understand your reasoning and thought process in that if the seller's already paying to have the plumber there, get your money's worth and have the plumber take care of all the plumbing issues.
Right. Something like you brought up caulking. That can be done even by a homeowner.
Sure.
So if it's got a couple little caulk items that a plumber could do, but that's all that's on there for a plumber, is, it's fine if the homeowner does it. If it's not perfect, it may not need to be perfect as long as it's functional. But if a plumber's already coming out because a toilet has to be pulled, replaced, you've got severe leaking somewhere, then you can add a few things in. Like you said, they're already on site, and then it can be done professionally and absolutely correctly.
Yeah, agreed. And then I think the other thing is, and we've had this conversation, especially I live in Plaza Midwood, a lot of the homes I'm doing are 1920s, 30s, 40s, or older homes. Something might come up on an inspection report that at the time the house was built was grandfathered in. And so even though if I'm representing the seller, which in my case I do more listings than buyers just at this point,
right?
That's one of the things that I will sometimes call you and discuss with my seller client, that you don't have to fix this. It was grandfathered in, and it was done to the standards of the time. And I think the other thing is, well, no, I'm sorry, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Well, I was going to reiterate a little bit more on that, is that, so we're not truly doing a code inspection here. So some things that would be a great idea to do, like you said, the house may not have been required to have that when it was done.
Like
for instance,
bracings, right?
Bracings,
like we talked about
or
that.
ground fault current interrupters in a kitchen. If a house has never been updated and it was built in 1960, it would not have had those. It's still a good idea to have them.
Well, sure.
So we're putting it in for that. So you may or may not be able to get the sellers to take care of it, but it's still a good idea to do.
Understood. So do you have anything else you would like to kind of throw out there or make sure you kind of touch upon while you're spending your time here with us, and want to make sure that people, what can people do? What would be helpful to you? Anything?
As I said, prepare your house for it. Periodic inspections are a great idea. They're becoming a lot more popular, and keeping your house going and maintained well. Servicing the expensive components, air conditioning, get them serviced. It's going to help you a lot in the long run.
So just maybe annually have somebody come out and do an HVAC checkup, something like that. Okay. So now if folks wanted to get a hold of you, how would they reach you?
They can call my office at 704-464-1703 or email me at jim.matson, M-A-T-S-O-N, @pillartopost.com.
I mean, I love having my best people on here because they're excellent, but then I hate to give out your information afterwards because I feel like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to get you when I need you now? So
if there's any room after Shannon, I'll squeeze you in.
Good call. Good man.
Well, I think that's all we've got for today, folks. So, Jim, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
See you. Yep. And if you guys have any questions after the fact, go ahead and make sure you put your comments in the bottom. Hit that like button, hit #repeat. Let us know that you were out there and you watched it and you're enjoying these. I'd love some feedback. If you have anybody that you would like to recommend for one of our future Facebook Live interviews, whether it's someone like Jim or a contractor that you think does amazing work, or if it's somebody in the community, in your neighborhood, that's just doing something really awesomely cool, let us know. We'd love to talk with them. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks again for joining us.
Bye-bye.